Hey, John. I'm wondering, I got two questions for you. Start off with this one. What positions were the most difficult to evaluate in this really strange offseason and without any preseason games?
Well, I think it's more the skill positions than anything. Because I think when you look at the linemen, they're still very physical in practice, whether it be one-on-one, pass pro, or even in team settings. It's still pretty physical inside, so you get a good feel for the big guys. I think that it's hard in the secondary. Even though you get one-on-ones and everything in practice, but it's still difficult to see them because you don't get to see them tackle or how physical they are in practice either. So I would say the skill positions are, were probably the most difficult, but we had a pretty good idea going in what we had, and then we saw a lot of practice too, and I thought it was, we ended up in a good spot.
Okay, and then secondly, it looks like across the league, a lot of teams are just keeping two quarterbacks. Maybe they'll, sign a couple here, but do you think that teams will scoop up these guys Monday, Tuesday, or maybe even like after September 15 when the contracts aren't guaranteed?
We'll see. I mean, I think that obviously with the practice squads as large as they are, we've been looking at different options of what we can do at the quarterback position. And it really is, in case we were to have an outbreak at that position, trying to solve that before we got there. So I'm sure there's like many teams out there, we're still looking for different options to try to avoid any catastrophe.
Next up, Ryan, then Mike Kliss. Ryan, go ahead.
Hey, John, two quick ones for you. First, Tyree Cleveland, 7th-round pick to make the roster. What did he show during camp? And then my second one is, what kind of month did you think Drew Lock had?
Well, first of all, Tyree, I think he's a big guy that can really run. I think that his willingness, his toughness, put his nose down there in the running game and practice, but also what he can do on special teams. He's a guy that knows that for him to make this football team, he has to really show a lot on special teams. And he did that. And he also showed that, he's a very capable wideout. Obviously, he's very young and has a long way to go. But, he proved that, he's big and he's physical and he can catch the football. But also, he can be very helpful on the special teams, which is a key for those, for the 5, 6, 7 receivers.
And then follow up Drew Lock's month.
I think it was a little inconsistent, but I think that's what we expect. I think that, you got to get challenged. You got to have bad days in practice and how you bounce back from them, but also you learn from those too. So, I think it was a little bit of an up and down. I think he had a real nice last night. He finished camp strong last night with a good night.
Next up, Mike Kliss and Jeff. Mike, go ahead.
Yeah, John, Jake Butt's probably the best feel-good story of your 53 till now. Did you think, honestly, say a month ago, that he would make it after all he's been through?
Well, it's kind of hopeful. Like you said, with everything that he's been through, it's hopeful because he's such a great kid and it means so much to him. And so, the good thing is this is probably the first time he's really come back to camp 100% with both having the surgeries on both knees and where he was. So I'm excited about Jake. It's something that he really wanted. And so hopefully it continues to get even better from here.
Next up, Jeff Largold.
John, I got a couple. I'm wondering, can you explain to me what's the COVID procedure for guys you would claim off waivers or who have been in a camp? Is it different than, say, Mark Barron went through?
Yeah, I think it's changed a little bit, Jeff, but it changes daily. I mean, so that's why I think at this point in time, they have to come in. If they've been in another camp, then I think they come in and test, and they can't be in the building for 24 hours. And then I believe the next day they do a point of care test. And then after that, if they pass that, then I believe they can come in the building. So I think that is the protocol for guys that were in other camps. Now, guys that weren't, obviously it's still the same. I think it's 3 days, 3 straight testings. 3 negative tests 3 days in a row.
Okay, and then so conceivably, if you make a waiver claim or sign somebody, if they've been in a camp, you could have those guys week 1 then.
Oh yeah, we should have them if we were to claim them and get them Sunday. We'd get them in here hopefully Sunday night. So Monday, probably have them by Tuesday would be my guess.
Okay. And do you expect to be active in terms of waivers and what you see on the wire?
No, we don't. I mean, I think that we feel pretty good about our football team. Obviously, we're going to look at everything and look at all possibilities and see if there's a chance that somebody being out there to help our football team. But I think we feel pretty good about where we are, kind of excited about the football team we have.
Next up, Brandon Cristal.
John, 15 years as a player and now doing this. I think this is your 11th Cutdown day as the guy running the show. Has it gotten any easier? And how do you handle this day, I guess, kind of on a personal level?
Well, the good thing is in my 16-year career, I never had to visit it. So that's a good thing. I think that, but no, it doesn't get any easier. I think these kids want to make it. I think this year is very different. The good thing is this year we didn't have to cut as many guys because we're at 80. Plus we get to bring back, 4 more than we did last year. So, it's really getting rid of today is 11. There's 11 guys that won't be back tomorrow, which is much less than the usual 26 or 36 guys that we have to cut going from 90 to 53. So it was a little bit easier in that respect, but it's always difficult because, all these kids have dreams and they come to camp with the idea they don't want to make a football team. So, it's no fun breaking their dreams.
Next up, Eric DeLaw, then Mark Kisla. Eric, go ahead.
Hey, John, first, just where do you feel the linebacker room sits now with the addition of Barron and Calitro and Todd obviously being released? And then second, do you think KJ Hamler is a candidate to go on IR to return, or is he going to stay on the active roster?
KJ is going to stay on the active. He's getting close. Hopefully he starts running around this week. So we'll take him day to day, but no, he is not. He's going to stay on the 53. So he'll stay there. And then the linebacker, I think, obviously they still have a lot to learn because we have some new ones in there. But, Mark Barron's got a lot of experience and a guy that can move around and help us. And then Austin Calitro coming in, started the last 4 games for Jacksonville, or 5 games last year for Jacksonville, can play the game and is a great special teamer. So, but he's going to have to get caught up with what we're doing. And I think, Josie had a really good camp as well as AJ had a good camp and Jones played well too. So we reorganized that room a little bit, but actually feel pretty good about where we are.
Next up, Mark Kisla, then Troy. Kids, go ahead.
At the outset of camp, you stated you thought defense would have to carry this team early. Do you still feel that way? And what do you like about this defense better than maybe a year ago at this time?
Well, I still have confidence that the offense can score a lot of points. We got a lot of talent on that side. They've had a good camp. I like what Pat's doing a lot on the offensive side, and so they've been learning and had a good camp. And so I think we're explosive on the offensive side. I think with the youth, there might be some inconsistencies with it, which remains and that's always going to be the case. It's just a matter of how inconsistent you are. And so hopefully we can eliminate those mistakes as time goes. I think defensively, I like the fact that everybody, for the most part, everybody's been through Vic's defense and knows that, has a year under their belt there. And I think that helps a lot. I like where the secondary is. With the corners that we have as well as the safeties. And again, like I said, with the experience of having Vic's defense. And then, I think Vaughn's had a good camp. He looks like he's ready to go. Chubb, we got to get him going. And that, I think, will take some time, but we know what he can do. And then I think, the other young guys that have stepped up in the interior D-line, Draymond had a great camp. And so I think that, the pass rush with Durrell coming in to help with the pass rush that, we got a chance to be better on the defensive side.
Next up, Troy Brink.
John, thanks for joining us today. And I'm not sure if we would talk to you before the opener, so I asked this question. Have you had any discussions with the team on how they would handle the anthem? And what how do you see what happened where you lost the practice, but maybe players said they thought it might be a galvanizing force. So did you discuss the anthem issue with the team as a group, and kind of how do you move forward with some of the stuff that's happened in the NFL this preseason?
Well, we have talked to the team about that, and I'll say where I stand as far as where the Broncos stand. And the bottom line is the players can do as they wish. Everybody can do as they wish when it comes down to the anthem. The only thing that we ask is the fact that everybody respect everybody for their rights of what they want to do. If somebody wants to stand, we'll respect the fact that they want to stand. If somebody wants to kneel, we will all respect the rights of what that person chooses to do for the anthem. So I think that, everybody's in agreement with that. We're going to do everything we can to continue the social justice side of what we're doing. And there's a lot of players that want to get involved with that. So we'll continue as an organization to support them and help them in any way we can to make a difference in our community. And so there's a lot of interest there, and we're willing to do what it takes to give them that support, on that social justice side, but also keep the focus on the fact that, they're both very, very important. There's not one more important than the other, but with also keeping our eye on the ball as far as, we got to figure out how to win football games in this unique world that we're into today.
Guys, time for a few more. Next up, Lindsey Jones.
Hi, John. I had a league question for you here. Last week, Roger Goodell told us on a conference call that he didn't believe that there was a competitive advantage to some teams having fans in their stadium versus some teams not having fans. From the competition committee perspective, why is that? Why is there no competitive advantage, you think? And then what maybe went into the process of figuring out the crowd noise, what can be pumped in, and trying to kind of create a fair system across the NFL for teams that might be empty this year?
Well, I think with the numbers that we're talking about that can get into football games, I don't think it's a big difference. If you're talking about 20,000 people into you use our stadium, for example, if you put 20,000 people in our stadium, I don't think that makes a difference. I think it's too big and it's too cavernous. And so therefore, with the numbers that when Commissioner Goodell says it's really, it's a level playing field, I agree with him, because I don't think that the amount of people that they're talking about in stadiums will not make a difference. Now, obviously, you get to half to three quarters or even more so full, then you have a chance to make a difference. But the numbers that we're talking about that are getting into the games now, the 10, 12, 15,000 people, to me, will not make a difference when it comes down to, the level playing field.
Final two, Andrew Mason, Nick Kosminer. Andrew, go ahead.
Hey, John, of course, with fewer practices, no OTAs, no preseason, it's been different this year. So watching the team last night and throughout the last few weeks, where does it stand in terms of its readiness for week one compared with normal years?
Well, I will say this, is everybody's in the same boat. So, I think that, obviously it hurts everybody not to have those preseason games and to get some live playing. Even veterans would tell you that they'd like to play preseason games to get themselves ready to start the season, whether it be 10 plays, 30 plays, whatever that may be. So it is a change, and it does affect everybody what we're doing. But again, everybody's in the same boat. So therefore, how does it affect us? We'll have to see. We'll see how we react to it. It's up to the team that reacts to it the best. A lot of these guys coming out of college, they're not used to preseason either. They're used to coming out of camp and getting right into football games. And so hopefully they can draw off that and we can get off to a good start.
Final one, Nick.
John, what are the biggest reasons you have optimism this defense can create more takeaways this season?
Well, I like the players we have on the defensive side. I like the secondary that we have and the instincts that they play with. And I believe that we can generate a pretty darn good pass rush. And with the different things that we do defensively, A.J. Johnson's has had a great camp and does a great job in different things inside and be able to rush the pass from the inside linebacker position. So I like the fact that, the people that we have over there, the instincts that they're playing with, plus our ability to get after the quarterback.